And let's go ahead and start with the last question from the last candidates. And we'll start on the far end with Sonny. I'm going to ask about the court's expansion project. With the new Judicial Center project, the Washington Superior Court will be expanded, and the Washington Circuit Court and the clerk's office will be relocated from our courthouse out to that Judicial Center. The question is, do you think this is a good idea? And should all county offices be moved out there as well? And what impact do you think such a move will have on our downtown? He needs the microphone.
My experience with the community
Go ahead.
on this particular.
Let's start with introduce yourself.
Oh. My name is Leonard Sonny Maxwell. My experience in the community with the problem that we have with the court system is not an expenditure, it's a problem of the reoccurring crimes and the people that are being brought to the court system. I do the jail ministry and I work with a lot of the people that are having problems. In this community right now, if we would initialize a program for those that are reoccurring and going back into the system and get them to where they're off of just going through that would help a lot. In the jail ministry, it's the same faces coming back repeatedly, month after month, year after year. And if we could do something for those people that are depressed, getting on drugs, they can't find a job, I think that it would clear up a lot of the things that we have in this community. Right now, what it was hurting me is in New Albany, we have a problem with gangs. A bigger courtroom is not going to solve that problem. It's right on our doorsteps, and we need to address that issue.
Thank you. Continue to the right.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Spalding. I think that the courtroom renovation, expansion, moving out by the jail is a good thing. I support it. I would agree with Mr. Maxwell. I think that programs would go a long way. I still think you need to look at caseload. You need to talk to perhaps Judge Newkirk, who I'm sure would be glad to tell you in more detail about his caseload and some of his working conditions out there. But I think crime is something that's not going to go away. I think the courtroom expansion needs to happen. I think that moving the clerk out there, I support that. As far as other county offices, I don't necessarily support that. I think that there are offices that will work just fine in the courthouse. I think that there needs to be use of that building and not just a vacant structure. I support the courtroom expansion, and also I think that the old jail needs some renovation still yet. We touched on improving the detention center there, but as far as the old sheriff's department, a lot of that didn't get addressed, and it's something that we're going to have to deal with sooner than later.
Thank you.
My name's Trevor Phipps. I actually would support the expansion of the courts out to the location of the jail. It eases transportation issues, would possibly ease staffing issues, and being able to make court appearances with the inmates out there, and cuts down on travel time for deputies to be away while they're conducting people back and forth to the courts. Simplifies things for the judges to be right there. It only makes sense to have the clerk of the courts be in the same building with the courtrooms, and it would help the parking on the square, because I think the clerk's office is probably the most used office at the courthouse. It'd be easier to get in and out of the clerk's office when you need to, so I would support moving that out there. I don't support moving everything out there, and I think just the clerk and the judges would be fine.
Thank you. For the second question, we'll start in the middle with John Spalding and then continue to the right again, the same pattern. I'm going to ask a question about department structure. Indiana code requires each county to have a highway department run by a supervisor who's charged with the overall responsibility for roads in the county. Though not required, most counties do divide their counties into road districts, one assigned for each commissioner. And Washington County recently restructured the highway department to eliminate the single supervisor position and to make the 3 district foremen their own respective supervisors. Although this is a county commissioner function, the county council is called upon by state law to set and fund salaries of all county employees through its salary ordinance. And the question is, do you believe the restructuring of the highway department will prove to be a cost-saving move? And do you believe that there are other departments that could or should be restructured to save money?
I supported the restructuring of the highway department. I think you have to look at each individual department and the staff that you have to work with, and I think that realigning is probably going to, I would say it's going to provide positive results moving forward. I don't think that you mentioned, we do have 3 district foremans, but we also do have an office manager now. We've elevated that position up. Pam has done a wonderful job in more of a clerical secretary role in the past. She's pretty much ran that department along with the foremen and given her a little extra responsibility and a pay increase. I trust Pam and think that she will do a good job with that department moving forward. That being said, I really would want to look at this 3 district thing. I don't think that dividing it up in districts is something that I'm super keen on. I think if you look at, just use District 2 as an example, most of the traffic comes to the center of the county or to Salem. That's more wear and tear on Salem's roads. District 2 also gets called upon to take care of the park. Gets called upon to take care of the fairgrounds. And I think when you look at District 1 and District 3, they get a little bit of a disproportionate amount of funds versus District 2. So I think if you want to look at highway department and you want to see, other than restructuring, continued improvements, you might want to look at the way the money is divvied up in the districts.
Thank you. And then pass to your right.
I think when you restructure like that, I'd say right now it's too early to say what kind of savings might be there. I don't necessarily think it was a bad thing, but I would say one negative possibility is when you divide it up into 3 districts, as Jonathan was kind of alluding to, you have one district bearing an unproportional load and the others, and you might, as human nature is, have a little bit of resentment, maybe internal strife through that, but I think there are ways to deal with any issues that would come up from that. As far as whether it should be done with all departments, just have to see how it works out with the county highway department, see what other departments there are that could possibly benefit from restructuring and go from there.
Since I'm very new at this, I would have to do some studying on this, but from my experience in running crews in the Air Force, I would say that it's always better when you have not just one, but you have 3 heads that are running together effectively as a team, togetherness. And if you could look at where your downfalls are and where your strengths are, and you work off of that with the 3, I would be supporting that.
Okay, and then where do we start with the first question? Okay. All right, and let's ask, what do you think are the most important things you'd like to accomplish if elected to the county council? What are the issues that are causing you to run?
Well, I'd like to see tax dollars put to use in some better ways than I've seen. I have a real issue with paying money for construction management companies that add zero manpower to a project, zero material to a project, zero tools or anything else, and just get a collected check from us. That's one thing I'd like to see done away with. I'd like to see us get more jobs in the county, use resources wherever we can to promote that. Problem I have is, to get jobs, you need water. There's not a factory in the world I know of that doesn't take vast quantities of water. I know we lost out on the potential of having a grain processing plant at one time because we couldn't provide the water in the county. You have to have the water for your residents, and for a business like one up in Seymour that was losing 60,000 gallons of water a day and didn't have any idea where it was going. You have to have high-speed internet. I don't know any big corporation in the world today that's going to relocate anywhere that doesn't have the high-speed internet capabilities. There's all kinds of things that I would like to see done, but in practicality, a lot of them won't be able to be accomplished. But I'd like to see us get started down that path somewhere.
Thank you. Sonny, what are the most important issues that you'd like to see addressed if elected to county council?
I would like to see a council that work closely together and really take a look at where our tax dollars are going and look at every project. Spend some time, because I know, going back to the Air Force, you can lose dollars quickly by misbudgeting funds and even trusting people. If you have a contract that comes in, he's supposed to be putting so much rebar in, and you have nobody there watching him. As soon as you leave the site, he pulls the rebar out and put the concrete in, and then you got a problem with the building later. So we got to look at a lot of things, where the dollars are really going. And that's what I want to see. I want to see a council that will work together, whether they're Democrat, Republican, or what, for the betterment of this county.
Next question, please.
Most pressing issues and things you'd like to see accomplished over the next 4 years?
Over the next 4 years, I kind of struggle with running, because when you look at the responsibility that comes along with the office versus the amount of money that you get back in pay, there's a pretty big shortfall there. But at the end of the day, you realize that you're not taking this office, you're not putting in this amount of work for personal gain. You're doing it for the community. I'm doing it for my children. I hope that all or most stay in this community. That's where I come from is Washington County. I want to see my family grow up here as well, and I want to see improvements. I want to see economic development. But the biggest issues facing this county, I have to say, start in the home. I mean, we see drug addiction, we see crime. That's one of our biggest expenditures on our budget. People inside the home, they just have to sometimes improving your preparing skills, stuff like that. The most difficult thing is improving yourself. But I mean, that's what it takes. And then you have to have a community that supports you as well. You have to have safe schools. You have to have safe communities, safe streets, safe neighborhoods. I want to see us generate enough revenue to pay for all those responsibilities.
Thank you. Let's start at the end, the way we started, and then you have 60 seconds to make some closing remarks.
Best closing remark I can make as an evangelist going through this community. There's so much depression. There's so many people hurting. So many people getting on drugs due to the fact that they had a lifestyle and then they had to downsize. They can't have any higher taxes because they can't pay what they have. So what I would say in closing is we need to heal our community.
60 seconds.
My closing comments are I'm from here. I'm a Gibson Township boy, and went off to college for a couple years, but come back. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I'm raising my family here. I think it's a great place, you know, whenever you can drive down the street and know 90% of the people that you pass, and have a good relationship with the majority of all. I think, you know, just because we have some issues, we definitely do have some issues, that doesn't mean that I want this to be like a negative tone. It's a great community, filled with a bunch of great people. You know, I would appreciate your vote come the election here in a couple weeks. Jonathan Spalding, County Council, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Trevor Phipps, and I'm running for county council, and I'd like your vote. I think we live in a pretty wonderful community, a lot of potential, and I'd just like to see us live up to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Trevor Phipps, Jonathan Spalding, and Sonny Maxwell, the Democratic candidates for county council.